So Mondays are for mobility. We're going to be using a chair, probably for our whole practice, and you don't even need your yoga mat. Just grab a chair that has a nice wide seat, even if it has handles, totally cool. But grab what you need, and we're gonna start kind of at the front of our chair, so maybe about halfway. So we're sitting just about where the sits bones are, and just kind of sink into that, letting your knees be soft. So we're gonna start with just a few deep breaths. So letting your hands rest on your thighs, just kind of let the elbows melt. Close down those eyes if you can. And then imagine shifting your shoulders over your hips. So you kind of have to sit up a little taller. Just imagine this 90-90 happening from your knees, through your thighs, and then all the way from the top of your thighs to your torso. Very symmetrical, very geometric, very supported. And let's take about 3 more breaths. As you inhale, expand horizontally through the ribs, trying to keep the breath below the collarbones. And as you exhale, try to squeeze everything all the way into center. Try to wrap all those muscles around your spine. Take 2 more breaths just like that. Inhale, expand. Keeping the belly nice and wide, and then exhale, squeeze it all out. Let the shoulders, the head, the jaw release. Let's just do 1 more for good measure. Inhale fully. Squeezing, sitting back, lifting tall. Exhale everything out. Start to blink your eyes open. And then just start to rotate your thumbs just kind of in one direction, and then just kind of switch that direction to notice that it doesn't want to go the sticky way. And just kind of warm up through the fingers, warm up through the wrists, maybe shake them out. All right, so we're going to be using the thumbs. If anything is ever painful, obviously don't do it. But with our thumbs, we're just going to try to get to know these muscles in our low back. So they're called our quadratus lumborum, and they're these big rectangles that kind of line up around the spine. So as you're sitting, you're gonna imagine pushing into, so this is my hip, this is my rib up here. You're going to imagine kind of coming into the very low back, right about above the hip bone. So my hip bone's just about right here, and I'm going a few inches just above it. You'll kind of feel a piece of it divot into your low back. And we're not squeezing entirely, we're just kind of placing our thumbs there, even resting your hands on your hips so that your shoulders can relax. And if you can feel like, oh, okay, that feels like muscle, go ahead and lean to the right, and if you feel it on your left side, you're in the right spot. And then come back to center, keep holding your thumbs there, not squeezing, but just holding them to have enough pressure, and then lean over to the other side, feel that on the opposite side. So just kind of do that a few times. And maybe even close the eyes, keeping the shoulders over the waist. And just feel that muscle activate. Feel that muscle move. And then after you finish up on the other side, maybe feel the other extending muscles. We'll talk about those later. Keep your thumbs where they are, and then just start to lean forward. And just start to notice, are they activating? They should not be. So if they are, you might be overusing those muscles in your low back, right? So just doing it a couple times, just seeing if you can, if they are activating, to see if you can kind of help them to take less responsibility. And then holding your thumbs, maybe in a new place, feel free to kind of walk up and down where I showed you the muscle runs. So start to lift up through the chest, arch your low back. And then gently, from your belly button, start to squeeze your belly in. Try not to contract your low back until you get really nice and rounded. And then just kind of soften the shoulders all the way back down, keeping a really like tucked tailbone, like you're scooping your tail under. And then just kind of roll your shoulders, roll your chin down, tucking your chin. Taking a big breath here. Bringing your hands to your chair, pushing into your palms, and then letting that pull your chest forward, kind of arch through your back. And then on your exhale, just kind of round your spine, squeeze back kind of like a seated cat-cow, tucking your tailbone. And as you inhale, just maybe grab for the seat, lift your chest, squeeze your shoulder blades back. As you exhale, round your spine, even tuck your chin if you want to. Inhale, use the hands if you wish, or just lift through your low back. Let's take one more just like that, really arching in the spine, moving nice and slowly, thinking about moving from the belly button, not the low back. Okay, beautiful. So if you have a band and you want to use band to get a little bit more go for it. But we're gonna do some chair squats. So I know they kind of seem monotonous, but if we all did these every single day, our hips would be a lot happier. So let's get to it. So let's go ahead and place our feet hip distance, bring your hands together, take an inhale to prepare, and then exhale, just stand it up. And then sit down, tap your chair, maybe lean all the way back, and then just slip back up. Yeah, so nothing too fancy. See if you can keep the shoulders over the waist when you sit back down. Good, and then just maybe start to go a little faster. Start to squeeze your thighs together. So I'm feeling a lot of muscle activation through the back of the hip, through the back of the leg. Keeping your chest lifted. Good, and just give yourself 3 more. See if you can notice if there's any catching on the way up or on the way down. And then once you make it down, stay there. Take a rest. And then interlace your fingers behind your head, really lifting up through your chest. Squeeze those elbows back. Notice if your low ribs are arching up like mine are. See if you can tuck them under. And then just sit up nice and tall. So we're trying to squeeze those low ribs under. We're trying to squeeze our elbows back. And then bring some awareness to the feet. Start to lift up through your left leg. Dropping it down, let your torso stay exactly where it is. Lift up through the right leg. Drop it down. Inhale through the left. Drop it down. And then just switch sides. See if you can feel this deep internal muscle, not the top of your quads activating to power through. We're still squeezing our elbows back. We're still pulling our lower ribs in. So we should be getting a really, really awesome stretch. See if you can even push your head into your hands. Push, push, push. Keep lifting one foot and then the other. And just kind of seeing how high you can lift that with full control. Get it. Really good. Just finish one more on each side. Not looking for a burn, just looking for that edge. Release your arms down. And then just kind of scoot back just a little bit. We're gonna walk our feet a little bit wider so that we can kind of come into like our active squat on the chair because we're kicking it. And then bring in your feet, so make sure their toes are pointed forward and just kind of resting your belly between your thighs. Just start to kind of sway for a moment. Let your head go all the way down. All right, and then planting your palms like you're in a forward fold. Begin to really let your head go. Pushing into your palms. Try to stay gazing down, so if you need to watch this one, just take a second to watch it. Lifting up through your left arm and then lowering back down. So your fist does not touch the ground and your bicep is trying to get all the way up towards your ear. So you have to push energy through that bottom arm, that right arm, so that you can lift that left arm a little higher. Of course, if you want to do this with a light dumbbell, you will get that burn very quickly. Keep the neck nice and long. If you feel this in the neck, you need to take a break. Lifting up and down. Good. Really spreading the fingertips of that right hand into the mat, melting the chest, squaring off the shoulders. Do 3 more. Lifting all the way up, just kind of going against your own edge. Last one, all the way up, and then plant that left arm down. Just kind of release through that that left shoulder, maybe squeeze through that upper trap. And just kind of let it go. We're gonna plant our left palm down, maybe grab onto that imaginary, that phantom dumbbell, and then gazing down at your left thumb, lift your right arm up and lower back down. Lifting all the way up, gazes down and lower. So we want to feel this through the right side of the front of the ribs because you are stabilizing from that whole, not the right ribs, the left ribs. if you were going with my cue. Whatever arm is stable on the mat, that's the side. You're gonna feel it through the front of those ribs, maybe through the back of the shoulder. Push into that palm, connecting to the mat. Let your head go. Don't let yourself feel it in the neck. If you do, just take a break, come back to it. And just give yourself about 3 more. Really spread through the fingertips, lifting up that imaginary dumbbell, dropping it down, letting that shoulder relax, maybe even rub out that upper trap. And then just take a break to let that go. We're gonna come back into that first side. So that should be the left arm. Bringing your left arm behind your head so your elbow points out. Your right hand stays connected to the mat. And then just drop we've done this before, so bring your elbow close to your thumb. Just point it down there. And then on your inhale, lift up, maybe out to the side, really pushing into that bottom arm. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift up. We're just gonna do 5 of these, really gently pushing into that bottom arm. 3. Notice how much you can feel it on the other side. With control, last one. Drop that hand down, bring your opposite hand behind your head. Take a big breath in. Big exhale. And then inhale, lift all the way up. Exhale, try to reach, point that elbow to the thumb. Inhale. Exhale. So we are stretching this fascia in the best way. Give yourself, I think that was 3 or 4. Let's do 2 more just for good measure. Last one, big breath in. And then just let that go. Take about 3 breaths just to kind of reset, maybe folding over or not. Beautiful. And you're just gonna gently roll all the way off of your chair. Maybe shake those hips out. Hopefully you have a little bit more space. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna come into a lunge with our foot on the chair. So we're gonna maybe hop out just a little bit. So we're gonna step off of our chair. We're gonna actually be lengthening our leg out to the side. So we're getting a nice sweet stretch through the inner thigh. So position yourself somewhere where you're far enough away, but close enough to be able to do that. And then if this feels like enough, then just kind of stay there. But make sure that your knee is your whole leg is rotating in somewhat, internally rotated. Not externally rotated. Definitely don't want to be here at all. Take a breath. And then exhale, just start to bend your knee as you send your hips back. And then you might start to feel it more on that inner thigh. So once you end up somewhere that's like, oh yeah, I can hang here. This feels really good. We've got muscle activation and then we're stretching through. You could even start to push your foot down into the chair. Stay in your lunge, but release your foot. Do 2 more, just like that. Inhale, push your foot into the chair. Exhale, maybe you sink a little deeper. 1 more big breath. I know that's a lot on the knee. Inhale. Exhale. Awesome. And then just gently start to roll off of that. Maybe use your chair to just roll out through the ankle. And we'll switch sides. So bringing that foot all the way onto the chair, pointing your toes down, rotating the leg bone inward. Making sure the knee, the hip, everything's kind of stacked up. Take a big breath. And then on your exhale, push your hips back, start to bend into your standing leg. Feel more of a stretch on that inner thigh. And then just let yourself end up somewhere that feels really good, feels really welcome. Hands can be at the hips, hands can hang out. Just kind of relax through the upper shoulders. And then if you want more, begin to push that straight leg into the chair. Release your foot, but stay in your lunge. Do that 2 more times. Inhale, push your foot into the chair. Just kind of feel that fire up. Or not. Take it 1 more. Inhale, push. Exhale, relax. Maybe sink a little deeper. And then just come out of it. Maybe use the chair to roll out that ankle, shake that out. Way to go. We just got a few more stretches. And I like to have a pillow for this one. It's just a lot nicer. And if you have a back of the chair, maybe place it so that your foot has freedom and it's not held back by the back of the chair. Cool. So let's bring that right leg back. And we're coming into a quad stretch. So we want our foot to probably, if you're really feel like you have long legs, your foot might be hanging off. Basically, you want to get somewhere, maybe pushing your knee down. You want to get somewhere to where you can tuck your tailbone as you begin to bend into that standing leg. So you really start to feel sensation here. So if that means your knee is on the chair, that's awesome. If that means that your knee is off the chair and you're able to get that stretch, that's awesome. Lean your shoulders back. Bending into that knee whenever you want more. Tucking your tailbone, squeezing your thighs together. When we activate and lengthen, that's when the muscle remembers where to stay. That's when things change. So breathe in to allowing more change in your life, in your hip flexor. In your yoga, start to straighten the leg, folding over, dropping your foot down, and letting that go. Bend your knees, roll it up, shake it out, and then we'll just come into that second side. So if you're good at hopping, bring that knee right over your chair. And then begin by tucking the tailbone, setting your foot up somewhere that you want it to be, and to start to bend into your knee. Maybe you start to squeeze those legs together, letting yourself wiggle and adjust to wherever it is you want to be in your stretch. And then just letting yourself be there. Maybe feel your low back stabilizing you so you can be here. Hips are squared. Breath is deep. Take one more inhale. Start to hinge forward, maybe straightening through that leg so that you can come off of your chair into a forward fold. Bend your knees, roll it up, and then turn around to face your chair. And you might want to face the back side of it towards you. We're just going to start in a nice wide-legged fold, facing our chair. So have your feet as wide as you want, and then your shoulders are going to be right over your wrists. And for now, just kind of let your chest melt between your shoulders. And then eventually push into your palms, send your hips back, maybe holding on to the outside edge of the chair so that you can drop your head. Maybe move the chair to where you can get a nice shoulder opener here. Letting the low back, the spine, the worries of the day just ground into the earth to be used for something else. Sending the hips back, melting the chest. Begin to bend into your right knee, keeping both feet planted and heavy. Head hangs. And then straightening through that right leg. Start to bend into your left knee, hanging your head. Melting deeper. And just slowly release everything back to two straight legs. Gently begin to put pressure into your forearms. so that you can slowly heel toe your feet all the way back up. So maybe see how slow you can do it, pivoting on the heels, and then just rolling all the way up. Ooh, hopefully your spine feels a little bit longer. Use that little trick with your thumbs anytime that you need to kind of just assess, like, am I overdoing it here? Or you just need that tactile feedback. I will see you tomorrow. Hope you have an awesome Monday, ready to take on another week of Yoga 30. Thanks so much for being here and taking time for you.